Hi. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for coming so far with the course. I know it wasn't the most entertaining courses so far, but trust me, all the theory that I taught you till now was extremely important for you to understand. But now is the time to get our hands dirty and learn our first macro. In this video lesson, I will be teaching you a few simple macros to start off with. Do not forget to use the Excel file I've attached in the supplementary materials section for you to follow along. I hope you are familiar with the concept of paste special, which is our first macro recording topic. Here I've got a few small tables, all having totals in their last row. These totals are actually formulas that are calculating the totals. In the first example, all we are trying to do is convert these formulas to values using paste special. I'm sure paste special is something that all Excel users have to use every now and then. This is a perfect opportunity for having a macro. So let's start by clicking on any cell. Then click the button on the status bar to start recording a macro. Let's name our macro Paste Special Values. Hope you still remember the macro naming rules I taught you in the past. Also notice how I used camel case to name the macro. Assign a shortkey, Ctrl-Shift-P as a trigger to our macro. Let's store the macro in the personal macro workbook, as this is a macro that I'll be needing every now and then. Then put a comment in the description if you want. Notice how the button on the status bar changed to a square box, denoting that the macro is now recording. Anything you do from now, including any errors, will be recorded. Let's begin with our steps. Press Ctrl-C to copy. And then on the same cell, press Ctrl-Alt-V and then V again to paste as values. Hit enter to commit. Press the escape key to get rid of the dancing borders and then click on the stop recording button. Perfect. You've successfully recorded your first macro. Let's try it on cell A10 now. Click on cell A10 and notice the formula in the formula bar. Now use the shortkey Ctrl-Shift-P that we assigned as a trigger to our macro. In an instance, the formula changes to values. Let's try the same on the next table. Here there are 4 totals instead of 1. Select all the 4 cells. Notice the formula in the formula bar and then use the shortkey again. Ctrl-Shift-P. Done. All 4 formulas convert to values in an instance. Here, selecting the cells before running the macro is very crucial. The range that you select is called selection. Do not forget to select the cells on which you would like the macro to run before executing it. If you're curious, try running the macro without selecting the cells to see what happens. Let's try an example using relative reference now. I hope you have the clarity on differences between relative and absolute references by now. Here I wish to leave the formula as is and copy the totals as values in the next row. First of all, under the Developer tab, click on Use Relative References. Notice how the button color changes. Now let's click on cell J10 and then start recording the macro. Name it Paste Special Values under Totals. Shortkey Ctrl-Shift-R. Select this workbook and click OK. Notice how I selected cell J10 before starting the recording process. Use the shortkey Ctrl-Shift-Right arrow and notice how all the cells till the last non-blank cells are selected. Using Ctrl-Shift-Right arrow is extremely important. If in case there are dynamic number of columns, using Ctrl-Shift-Right arrow will perfectly select all of it. Then use Ctrl-C to copy. Press the down arrow once to move to the next row. If we are using relative references, it will select one row below the active cell without caring where the active cell is. Press Ctrl-Alt-V and then V again to paste as values. Then press the up arrow once to move to the original location. Stop recording the macro now. Let's delete the new values and try running the macro once again. Ensure that cell J10 is selected and then use the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-R to trigger the macro. It works as required. Notice a similar sort of table at the right. It has 6 columns instead of 4. Let's try running the macro and see if it handles 6 columns. Click on cell O10 and then use Ctrl-Shift-R to run the macro. And it works like a charm. Let's take a slightly tougher example to transpose a table using relative references again. Confirm if the relative references button is pushed. Click on cell A16 and click on the record macro button. Name the macro transpose selection. Shortkey Ctrl-Shift-T. Select this workbook and click OK. Use shortkeys Ctrl-Shift** to select the current region. Current region means the whole selection, provided there are blank rows and columns on all 4 sides of the table. Then use Ctrl-C to copy. Press Ctrl along with the right arrow to move to the last non-blank cell to the right. Press the right arrow twice and then use the shortkey Ctrl-Alt-V and then E to transpose. Hit enter followed by the escape key and notice how the orientation of the table changes. Let's try the same with a different table having more number of rows and columns. Make A28 the active cell and then use the shortkey Ctrl-Shift-T to trigger the macro. Notice how it perfectly takes care of all added rows and columns without any issues. You've done a great job so far. If you have faced any issues or have any confusions, please post it in the discussion section and I'll help you out with it to the best of my knowledge.